Anthony Patrick James McGuinness, aka Tony, 1/3 of Above and Beyond. Great to have you on the show. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm not too bad. You're currently touring the world with your new album, Group Therapy. How's it all going?
It's going good. It feels good to finally finish the album, although there's a few aftershocks going on now. But I'd say it's as finished as it's felt for a long time, and it feels good.
With the new music and your previous productions and remixes, what's the sound of the new album?
I'd say Sun and Moon is pretty close to what the album sounds like. The same kind of songs that we've always done. Kind of happy, sad, I think is Parvo's description of what we do. But with a slightly more modern sound. I think we're always trying to keep up with the sound of the dance floor.
You're playing in Madrid tonight, Leeds tomorrow, and Belfast on Saturday. It's all a bit manic.
I put on my Facebook today, I feel a bit like a yo-yo. That's kind of fairly typical of European dates. We tend to get a little bit more linear and organised when we do a long tour, but weekend dates typically are, one over here, one over there. I remember going to Kazantip in Ukraine and then having to fly back and do Manchester the next day one time. That was pretty tough. That's kind of what it's like. You have to go where the shows are, and tonight we're playing at a big festival in Madrid, and it only happens one day a year.
The last time I saw you in Ireland was in Lush. Do you always enjoy coming back to play here?
Well, I don't know if it's because I'm half Irish that I love Ireland so. Both, all parts of it have a kind of common love of music and crack. And I think it's probably Ireland and Brazil are the two most enthusiastic countries when it comes to music. If you go to any pub in Ireland or bar in Brazil, you'll find bands made up of teenagers and octogenarians playing music and singing and that.
And with your tour, it takes in America. Over the next few weeks, the tour is going to bring you into the middle of May. Is trance as big in America as it is in the UK?
It is really big in America now. One of the things that they've got, which we don't have in Europe, is satellite radio, which is a paid-for service which you can get in your car, and you can subscribe to a number of different channels, or you can subscribe to the station as a whole. And so if you like trance music, or if you like dubstep, or whatever it is that you like that doesn't really get played on Radio 1 or on local radio, then you can subscribe to it. And I think that's done wonders for the electronic scene, because there are a lot of people who like it, and satellite radio in America has really spread that to every square inch of America. It's not really a scene now that's just centered on the traditional clubs like Pasha in New York or Glow in Washington. You can almost do a gig almost anywhere in America because Sirius XM radio covers the entire continent. So it's become a really, really fantastic market for us. We can play on a Tuesday night in Indianapolis and 1,200 people turn up. It's just fantastic.
That's the way you roll, basically.
That's the way we roll, yeah. Extensively.
You were quoted as saying the best way possible to create a track is to put the instrumental on in a car and just drive. Surely it's not as easy as that.
Well, that's the way it works for me. I think there's something about creating something where you have to kind of do it out the side of your vision, if you like. If you think too hard about what you're doing, then you might. I tend to get stuck, and what I like to do is sing in the car anyway, whether it's Coldplay or Frank Sinatra or REM or whatever it might be. I might be singing to. So for me, one of the things that works great with trying to come up with a song, if I'm not doing it, if it's not happening in the studio, is to just stick it on in the car and drive around and sing any old stuff, and there's nobody there, and you're completely free.
I can't sleep.
What I've always loved about Above and Beyond's production style, it's like a combination of build-ups and breaks throughout each tune. What's the feeling watching the crowd reaction to your productions?
The nature of club music is about build-ups and and things going up and down. If it's just, there are some deep house and techno get by with being the same kind of groove for a long period of time, and that's great if you're in the mood for it. But I think our songs try and give people some kind of emotional journey. Certainly the songs, like I was saying before, the happy sad thing, we kind of start at a point of contemplation and sadness, and then hopefully get them to a point of resolution, and that is reflected in the music. And so it's great to see people react to our stuff. We've road tested a lot of tracks from the album secretly over the last few months and honed them and seeing the reaction they get is really the whole point of doing this.
I would wholeheartedly agree with the happy, sad and then the resolution to your tracks. With that in mind, are any of your tunes written about experiences in life or anything in particular?
Probably 90% of them are autobiographical. Sometimes it's possible to take a moment in life that may have been very short and spread it into 7 minutes. So it's not like they tell the whole story of our lives at all. It's those moments when you're feeling down that music seems to be the greatest relief, and whether that's listening to it, which I do a lot, listening to other music very loud in the car or whatever, when I'm feeling in a particular mood. If you find a song that is completely on your wavelength, then I think there's not much better relief and therapy than music.
DJs now, some people would describe them as rock stars because you've got your private jets and you're playing in...
Have we?
Some do, apparently.
More like easy jets.
You're playing in different countries every other week. How does a DJ even think about breaking into the scene nowadays?
DJs, I guess what we are now, if you were to kind of go back in history, actually predates music altogether. There used to be these figures in tribes, so I learned, or so I've read, or somebody told me once, the kind of leader of the dance kind of character who would stand at, and they'd all bang drums, but there'd be a guy at the front kind of leading it all. And so I think in some respects, rock stars are kind of Johnny-come-latelys in our scene. What we're doing really is being a kind of conduit for the people in the room. And this leads neatly into a proper answer to your question, which is about, how do you break into the scene? I think really DJs per se are, let's say to a penny, but I mean there are millions of them, literally millions of people who would like to DJ. But I think really these days the ones that really break through are the ones that are artists more than anything else. And they write and produce and release music that people relate to, and then people want to go and see them DJing because they like their music. So I think we've sort of covered both bases really. I think, we're kind of half artists and half leaders of the dance. I think these days, certainly with technology, the actual art of DJing it's become a lot easier than it was 20 years ago.
Do you think DJing now is more like Formula 1, where it's more about the technology than the wheel and the turntable, so to speak?
Well, it's interesting. I've never driven a Formula 1 car, but I would suspect it's probably a lot harder than DJing. I mean, technology, if you want to do it, you can DJ with a laptop and, your tracks will be seamlessly mixed together. Whether you can make the transition sound good and if you've got the right mix points, well, there's some skill in that, but it's certainly a lot easier than precariously mixing two wobbly bits of vinyl. The technology makes it easier to get on board, but I'm not sure it makes it easier to excel. Above
and Beyond are known as a trio with yourself, Pavo and Jono. You spend so much time on the road together, but yet as a trio you just never seem to play together. Is that just a wee sort of thing that you have?
Well, to be honest, there's a number of factors that lead to that. Not least, there's so much to do in the studio with the radio show and the other things that we do that it's worked out great. I mean, I think all the other guys you see as one person, they have a huge team behind them, and so do we, but you see more of the team with us than you do with other people. But the team required to DJ for most acts is just one person. We decide that we're going to send 2 out of the 3. You're away 2/3 of the year, whatever way you look at it, and that's a lot of time. We find, with 2 people, there's just I think it's probably a better show than 3 people. There's a bit less time standing around drinking when there's 2 of you.
Be that as it may, with 2 people or 3 people, but it's written in stone. You're the 5th best DJ act in the world. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Did this make all the hard work all worthwhile?
I think, to be honest, that and many other things that come along that people go, wow, isn't that great, you've done X, Y, Z. You have to kind of fit it into the big picture. And I mean, people were saying, wow, you've really made it now, you've got a record on the Radio 1 playlist. To me, that's just them getting on board with where we are anyway. And I think the DJ Mag poll in some ways reflect everything that we've done and all the work that we've put in the last 10 years, rather than makes it happen, if you see what I mean. We're not obviously very grateful for the votes that people do. I think we actually made it up to 4 last year. But, it's only based on votes. It would be an interesting poll if it were based on ticket sales. It's just one of the measures like awards and things, and I don't think we take it too seriously.